I was just a construction worker. Every morning I woke up before sunrise, put on my dusty boots, grabbed my helmet, and headed to whatever building site needed another pair of hands. It wasn't glamorous work. Most people didn't even notice us. To them, we were just the guys in bright vests who hammered, lifted, and disappeared when the building was done. That job was supposed to be just another ordinary project. We were building a large office complex in the middle of the city. The days were long, the sun was brutal, and the noise of drills and machines never stopped. Most people working in the nearby offices walked past us without even looking. Until one day, she did. It was around lunchtime. I was sitting on a pile of wooden planks eating a simple sandwich I brought from home. My hands were dirty with cement dust, and I was exhausted. Then I heard a voice. "Is that your lunch?" I looked up, a little confused. Standing there was a woman in office clothes, holding a coffee cup. She looked like she worked in one of the buildings nearby. She smiled politely. "Yeah," I said, a little embarrassed. "Nothing fancy." She looked at my sandwich and laughed softly. "Well, at least it looks better than my sad salad." I didn't know why, but that small joke made the moment feel lighter. She sat on the edge of a concrete block nearby. "I pass this site every day," she said. "You guys work really hard." That surprised me. Most people never said things like that. "Someone has to build the buildings," I shrugged. She nodded thoughtfully. "My name's Emily," she said. I wiped my dusty hand on my jeans before shaking hers. "I'm Daniel." That was the first time we talked. The next day, she came back. This time she brought 2 coffees. "I figured construction workers might need this more than I do," she joked. After that, it became a small routine. Every few days during lunch, Emily would walk over and sit nearby. Sometimes she brought coffee. Sometimes she just came to talk. She asked about my work. About how buildings were made. About how long it takes to construct something so big. Most people never cared about those things. But she listened like every detail mattered. One afternoon she looked up at the skeleton of the building and said something I never forgot. "You know, one day hundreds of people will work here. They'll sit in offices, drink coffee, complain about meetings." She paused and smiled at me. "But none of them will know the people who actually built it." I laughed. "That's just how it works." But she shook her head. "Maybe, but I think the people who build things are the most important ones." No one had ever said something like that to me before. Weeks passed. The building slowly grew taller. And somehow, our conversations grew longer. One evening, when my shift ended late, I saw her waiting near the gate. "You're still here?" I asked. She smiled nervously. "I wanted to ask you something." "What's that?" She hesitated for a moment. "When this building is finished, you'll probably move to another job, right?" "Yeah," I said. "That's usually how it goes." She looked down at the ground for a second before looking back at me. "Well, I was wondering." She took a small breath. "Maybe we could still talk sometimes. You know. Without the construction site." For a moment I didn't know what to say. I was just a construction worker. She worked in an office. Our worlds were completely different. But somehow, during those lunch breaks, that difference never seemed to matter. So I smiled. "I'd like that." A few months later, the building was finished. My crew packed up our tools and moved to the next project. But before I left, Emily walked with me to the front of the building. People in suits were already moving inside. She looked up at the tall glass walls and said quietly, "You built this." I shrugged. "Part of it." Then she looked at me and smiled. And I'm really glad I stopped to talk to the guy who did. Sometimes, the most unforgettable jobs aren't the ones where you build the biggest buildings. They're the ones where you meet someone who changes the way you see yourself forever.